Now when man was created by God, it was said in fact that man was not intended to live in solitude. God's words from the Authorised Version, and this is from Genesis 2 verse 18, it said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make a helper comparable to him." And a helper does not imply, as some would have it, a sort of an assistant, in fact somebody to do the chores. This was never intended to be that. This was certainly the reading of the 17th century translation of the Bible, but we find in fact that more modern version will have such things as a partner for him, the New English Bible for example. And it wasn't an afterthought that God said it was not good. God recognised and determined there was a need, and therefore in fact supplied Adam with a wife. There was a 16th century mathematician called Robert Record, and he was alleged to have said, "There is nothing more equal than two parallel lines." And I haven't got a clue what he was talking about, because I'm not a mathematician. But whether it is true or not, we can say in fact that Adam and Eve were in a sense along parallel lines. They were created equal. Both stood together in joint responsibility before God. In practical terms, as long as a husband and wife agree, hopefully that will be a normal state of affairs in every marriage. Conflict may not often arise. If it does, discuss, seek to agreement, share opinions. And he goes on to say that in a committee of two, there can be no majority vote. So that seems to me quite a good thing. So, as I promised, I'm going to conclude. And this time I'm going to conclude with two remarks from politicians. And you go, nobody quotes politicians. Another cardinal will shall quote. But this was a politician of 150 years ago. It was Benjamin Disraeli. And he said to Gladstone, or he wrote a letter to Gladstone, and said, "Marriage is the greatest earthly happiness if it is founded on complete sympathy." And 50 years later, which is 100 years ago, there was Theodore Roosevelt, who once stated, I'm paraphrasing what he said, and he said, "Far and away, the best prize that mankind can offer is a chance to do something worth doing and doing it well." And I believe that is probably very true, even though it was from a politician. And finally, a friend of mine, Peter Belasta, which some of you may well recall, long since sadly died, and he and I were standing at a bus stop. It was some long time ago then, because I hadn't got a bus pass. So that was a good number of years ago. And we were standing there and we were listening to, not deliberately, can't help it, to a conversation. Two men were speaking. They may well have not been quite as sober as they should have been, because they had been discussing lots of their friends at a party they'd just been to. And they were talking about these various people in various shades and opinions of how good they were and how much they liked them. And one man turned to the other and said, "By the way, who is your best friend?" And this chap looked a bit startled. And he said, "But my wife, of course. She is my best friend." Thank you. I'm now going to ask Tim if he'll come forward, please, and read for us from the first letter of Corinthians, chapter 13.
Angels, but have not love. I am only resounding gong or clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy, I can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge. And if I have a faith that can move mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and surrender my body to the flames, for I have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil. It rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails, and where there are prophecies they will cease. Where there are tongues they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but when perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. When I was a child, I reasoned like a child, and when I became a man, I put childish ways behind me. Now we see but a poor reflection, as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part, and I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. But now these things remain, faith, hope and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Thank you, Tim.